As the second round of the Ragnarok would commence, Poseidon stood leaning on his trident, yawning and not really caring too much of the battle that he was about to engage in, because mortals already did not provide him much of anything, especially now a foolish one that did not know his place. Really? This is what you call me out here for? To fight a delusional man that cannot tell if he is a human or a fish and spends his time playing in the waters, my waters. You must truly be desperate, Brunhilde, or a fool. Even now, I must just... None of that, Black Manta would say, as he was checking over his armor and making sure that everything was in place. It's a good thing he picked me up on a good day. You know, I've always dreamed about something like this. Finding the guy that started it all. Atlanteans and all alike. I'm presuming that they come from you, the Atlanteans. Disappointment, Poseidon would say. But yes, you could say they are my people. Good. That's all I need to know. You know, I've watched your actions, Black Manta. And while I can't say that I've ever cared much for humans, I will say one thing. I'm not particularly fond of people that cause trouble in my domain. You are trouble with a capital T. Oh, I'm trouble. Nah, you ain't seen trouble yet. But you're about to see. And you're gonna find out the hard way. All this hate, all this bitterness, I've held it inside for damn near 30 years. And all of that leading to this moment so I can get to kill you. Why? What exactly have I done to you? Everything. Your very existence pisses me off. I can't stand looking at you. I hate your ugly face. I hate the way you're dressed. I hate the way you stand all nonchalant like you don't give a damn. But what am I supposed to expect? A lazy-ass god that never gets off his ass to do a damn thing, but always wants to talk big and bad like he's the baddest man around. First of all, I am no man. I am a god and I am a king. You're a fool and a dead man. Well, about to be a dead man or dead god, if that makes you feel any better. Don't worry. Whatever they write on your tombstone, I'll make sure I take a big-ass dump on it and pile it with my piss. Foul-mouthed as well. You sure do know how to find them, Brunhilde. I know why you're mad. You're mad because of those pirates. Those pirates that kidnapped you when you were just a mere boy. Took you in. Did all sorts of things to you. And what? You think that just because you were in the waters that somehow I'm supposed to answer your cries? Or were you upset that Aquaman would rather spend his day playing with dolphins than to worry about you for a damn second? Honestly, he didn't hear you, but even if he did, I'd have been more ashamed if he wasted even an ounce of his time on an insignificant piece of trash like you. You know why I don't care for you, Black Manta? Because you are nothing. And when I say you are nothing, I mean that you have no significant bearings on my life in any way, shape, and form. Do you think I lose sleep over what happens to any of you pitiful creatures that crawl into my domain, a place you don't belong? You think I care when you're drowning in my waters? I don't give a damn if you're an elder or if you're a newborn. I only hope that the water fills your lungs fast enough, that you sink and bloat at the bottom of the seas, and that you become nothing but a carcass and a food to my children. Because they'll clean you up, and I don't have to see your ugly mugs ever again. Yeah. The god of the seas, right? Your head's gonna look really good on my wall. Black Manta would now use his jets as he charged straight towards Poseidon. Poseidon would use his trident to block at the sword that Black Manta would pull. Even for Luthor, he had never seen that blade before, and for Gaul, she knew what it was instantly. Another Valkyrie sister? Yes. Which one is it? Hurst, the second Valkyrie. He formed a partnership with Hurst. I believe it would be the most adequate given his skill set. Unlike any other, I am confident that he will succeed. That's what you said the last time. And look at what happened to Ron Grizz. We know the risks that are involved with this. It's foolish to think that we wouldn't experience any tragedy. The two Valkyries would look over to Lex, who continued to observe the fight. Of course, it was all because of his suggestions. First with Grundy, now with Black Manta. Why exactly were they deferring to him so much? Even if they had to find the worst of humanity, they could have done it themselves. Why were they even bringing him along? Gaul was wondering. What did Brunhilde have in mind with all of this? If this was a part of the endgame, she didn't see it at the moment. Black Manta, wielding his newly inherited sword, would clash with the trident of Poseidon. Poseidon's defenses were immaculate, a master in spear play. Wielding his trident elegantly and with a fine grace, it moved through the air like fine water, fluid in motion. As he attempted a jab towards Black Manta, his trident would be stopped at the chest plate of his armor. I see. So you've used orichalcum armor. You even got your hand on a treasure of my seas. As if it's not enough to talk arrogantly to a god, you have the audacity to steal from them as well. Well, what's a god to a non-believer? Black Manta said, as he kicked away at the trident before giving a backhand to Poseidon's face, knocking him across the battlefield. You just... That's it. You're done. With a stomp of his foot, water would begin to protrude throughout the entire arena down below, causing it to be filled. Poseidon was going to drown Black Manta in that moment, drown him in divine waters. Black Manta stayed calm, even as his body was swallowed up by the great amount of water that surrounded him. The stands were high enough so that the people wouldn't be affected, but it seemed like the entire arena was flooded. As Poseidon stood atop of the waters, he watched down below as two glowing red eyes looked back at him, as they shot out a powerful laser beam that were fired directly at Poseidon, hitting him square in the chest and knocking him back. It felt like his own divinity, but no. He knew for a fact that Black Manta didn't have any possession of divinity within him. Even if he was being assisted by a damn Valkyrie with a sword, that was all he had, right? What's the matter? Black Manta said, as he started rocketing up his jetpack allowing him to hover in the air. Yeah, funny thing about me, this suit, it absorbs water and fires it off as energy. And wouldn't you know it, you've gotten me soaked, not just with any water, but with divine water. But hey, if you still think it'll work, then by all means, fire off another shot if you want. I can keep this up all day. You arrogant piece of filth. You think that your little tricks are going to be enough to stop me. There's no trick. And unfortunately, you still don't understand what type of situation you're in, do you? If not, then allow me, a pathetic piece of trash, to enlighten your highness on what's about to happen. I'm going to kill you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am going to fucking murder you. I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to make you regret the day that you were ever conceived. Honestly, you'd have been better off in your father's stomach, because even that would have been a better fate than what you're about to experience. We'll see about that. Wrathful Wave! The Wrathful Wave technique, in which Poseidon would spin around his trident before sending out quick and lightning-fast jabs of his three-pronged spear in a circular motion. Black Manta would get on the defensive as he held up his blade and began blocking every strike that came towards him. Even for a mortal, he was surprisingly quick and deceptively skilled. And while Black Manta would hate to admit it, this truly was the work of the gods. He could feel that at this point, it was the blade that was leading his arm, not the other way around. This must have been a part of the divinity from that Valkyrie chick that recruited him. Of course, when he was told about this Ragnarok or whatever it was, he had no intentions on getting involved. Didn't really see the point. However, when he heard who he'd be facing, well, he couldn't help but jump at the opportunity. Ultimately, this was nothing more but wish fulfillment on his part. A chance to take out all of his anger, all of his frustrations in one fell swoop against who he subscribed as the source of all of his suffering. And, proven to be true, it seemed as though Poseidon was truly the piece of crap he'd always imagined him being. In the meantime, as Lex watched on, he couldn't help but find all of this to be rather cathartic. I mean, what was the odds that someone like Poseidon would truly be a piece of crap? Someone that wouldn't have to give Black Manta any more motivation to kill him. I swear, do the gods ever even hear themselves talk sometimes? Lex would ask. Even still, they wouldn't find any cause or worry. The gods have their beliefs, no different than a parent to a child. That's how they see us mortals, as children. That's how you all are. From the day that you are born to the day that you die, you are nothing more but children. Children who they believe have never gotten the lessons that the parents bestow upon them. And what lesson are they trying to teach us exactly? From what I've seen, gods are no more vain, no more evil, no more corrupt than any human. And as the good book once said, we're all made in his image. These gods take the credit for mankind, for their births, for all of the work that they achieve. But when it comes to the flaws, everyone's hands are always clean, and it's always on our own. Yeah, I've seen how they behave. But what makes you all any different? I am the one that's trying to fight for humanity's survival. Brunhilde would say. Make no mistake about it. It's not like you were all my first choice. I was a choice that I was given, and I have to play with the cards that I've been dealt. Don't try and play that with me. You might have everyone else fooled, but I know better than anyone. This is going exactly how you wanted it to. Oh, really? And what makes you think so? Oh, I know so. You think you want those heroes to be on your side? Sure, they're powerful, I'll give them that. But there's one thing that they truly lack, and that's a backbone. They don't have the heart, the mindset to do what needs to be done. This Ragnarok, it's all one big farce. The gods already have the advantage, they always have. You're not going to beat a god by being honorable. You beat them by being despicable, by being the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low. There's no corner you can't cut. There's no rule you shouldn't be able to break. Heroes don't have that mindset, but we do. The villains that you label us to be. And what else would we call you? Gaul would say. Don't go acting all high and mighty, like you're any form of self-righteousness. In the end of the day, you're a selfish mortal, and you care about no one or no thing but yourself. And yet, you need the help of us mortals. Mortals like me. A mortal that gets the job done. A mortal that doesn't hide behind the excuse of being a mortal. You think I care that I'm nothing but flesh and bone? It wouldn't stop me from stepping up to a god and slapping them in the face. I have enough pride in myself, confidence in myself. I don't give a damn what the odds are or how much it's stacked against me. I don't care about a god because this is all my world. Any world that I live in is mine. Even right now, this world is mine. I'm just in a room full of idiots that don't know it yet. You'd be careful of how you speak, Gaul would say. Until the Ragnarok is concluded, this world is not in your possession. Not yet. As they continued watching on, Poseidon would continue his assault against Black Manta, and vice versa. The fight eventually boiled down to nothing more but a stabbing, slashing slaughter fest, as the two sides were pissing each other off to no content. Black Manta had been stabbed through with the trident a few times, and, for Poseidon, he had been slashed and cut with the blade given to Black Manta by Hurst, a special sword that was thankfully forged with a little help from the Black Manta. You see, in his years of being a super criminal, he'd come across many artifacts, many powerful tools that just so happened to be in his possession. Among them, the Tear of Extinction. It was a little souvenir he got when fighting against a group called the New Gods, and it was really powerful. It was said it could cut through any form of divinity, that there was no god immune to its power. And of course, Hurst was more than willing to take advantage of such a tool, as she merged it with herself to form the great sword that Black Manta was wielding now. A sword that was entirely black and gave off a dark blue-like aura. As they continued their assault against one another, for both the gods and the humans, they were just disgusted. They were disturbed at what they were seeing. Sure, the gods were arrogant at times, yes, some more so than others, but everyone had their limits. I mean, It wasn't lost on anyone that Poseidon was one of Zeus's biggest supporters. But even then, some of the ways that Poseidon conducted himself, it was just... there was nothing godlike about it. He came off like a spoilt brat, a perpetual child who called himself king. Sure, he had the power, but where was the compassion? Where was the love? The things that this man said and did, it was unbefitting, unbecoming of a god. And then there was Black Manta. I mean, yeah, he had a troubling past and backstory. No one could dispute that. But the crimes that this man committed, well, what better were he? I mean, the man killed a child, for crying out loud. It got to the point where both sides were disheartened. The reputations of both men sullied and stained. This was truly a fight between two evils. And it got to the point where you wondered who should really win. The fight would ultimately come to a head when Poseidon managed to cut through the divine sword that Black Manta had been given. Believing that he had found an opening, he would reach back with his trident before unleashing his ultimate technique, the Great Flood. As a multitude of afterimages of Poseidon would all appear around Black Manta from every side, Black Manta had to figure out which one was the real one. Was he going to strike from the front, from the back, from the side, down below, or up above? Black Manta would try to go for which Poseidon he felt was the real one. And unfortunately, he missed, as he felt the left side of his body being stabbed through with the trident, as he was being dragged down into the watery depths of the flooded arena. Poseidon stood over him, driving the trident into his side and straight into the ground, keeping him in place. What was that? Answer me, filth! I told you what was going to happen. I told you I was going to kill you. I told you! But you didn't listen. You kept talking. You kept spouting that piece of filth of a hole you call a mouth. You trying to talk to me like that? Huh? Huh? You will learn. I am a god. I am the king of the sea. This is my domain. Everything in it. It belongs to me. I will never lose. I will never lose. Well, speak up. Huh? I can't hear you. Speak up. You. What? What is it? What is it? You truly are a dumb son of a bitch. There would be a loud kicking sound, the flashing lights of Black Manta's helmet, the irises flickering a red light on and off before a giant explosion would occur. The power of the explosion vaporizing most of the water, as most of it had been absorbed and charged into a final strike. As Poseidon found himself being knocked into the ground, Black Manta got to his feet, his face burnt and mangled. It was horrifying to look at. Imagine what happened to Two-Face, but all over his face. His eyes had been sunken into his skull, his nose all but obliterated, leaving nothing but a hole, burn marks, his hair all being singed. And yet he continued to walk, as the broken sword had now turned into two. matching the spirit of the Valkyrie hearse, her dual personalities, the personality of calm and the personality of anger, each wielded in his hands. Well, Your Highness, there's a little something that you don't know about me. I've been angry my whole life. I got so much hate in my heart. You don't even know the half of it. Every way that you feel about me, that's exactly how I feel about you. I hate you. I hate you with every fiber, with every ounce, with every cell that makes my body. I hate you. Every time a new cell is made in my body, it just doubles the hate that I feel. I hate you from the tips of my toes to the top of my head. I hate you every waking moment, every time I go to sleep. My dreams are filled with the hate that I feel for you. The only way I could ever stop hating you is if I was reduced to nothing. And even then, I would still hold myself together because I have that much hate. And this sword in my right hand is the embodiment of every bit of hatred that I have ever held in my heart. With this sword, I will bury my hatred in the sea, and you will be buried along with it. Go to hell! Poseidon would reach for his trident and attempt to stab Black Manta again, only for his arm to be severed, and then his other arm, and then both of his legs. And then Black Manta proceeded to treat Poseidon like freshly caught fish and dissected him mercilessly until finally he held the head of the god of the seas in his hands. Even for Zeus, he felt a great sense of anger welling over him. Black Manta turned, looking back at Zeus as he raised his free hand and gave him the middle finger. Do me a favor. I'm sure you know some god that rules the underworld or whatnot. I'm pretty sure you hate me anyway, and you'll probably send me there when it's all said and done. So tell your bitch-ass brother to keep a warm spot for me. And tell him I'll be seeing him again. He rolled the head onto the ground and walked off. The humans weren't really sure if they were supposed to cheer. Very few did, if any. And the gods were already perturbed at this. Well, the winner of the second round of the Ragnarok, the Merchant of the Sea, Black Manta. Of course, for Gaul, she was just perturbed at all of this. The gore, the mayhem, the filth, the violence. For Lex, he couldn't help but grin. Finally, they'd gotten on the board, and it was now 1-1. Zeus felt like he had seen enough. It was time to nip all this in the bud. Yeah, you know what? We're done. Of course, Shiva was expected to fight next, but Zeus told him to stand down. I think it's time that these mortals got a reminder of just who in the hell they're up against. I'll take it from here. Well then, ladies, gentlemen, gods and goddesses, it's now time for the third round of the Ragnarok. Now making his way, he is the overseer for the Council of Valhalla. He rules from Mount Olympus. He is the god of lightning, the champion of the Olympic pantheon. I give you the mighty Zeus! The gods would now be in high spirits once again as the scraggly elderly man took his stage onto the arena. Zeus ready for who was to come. Brunhilde would convene with Luthor as to who they should bring in next. And Luthor already had someone in mind. He had been saving him just in case Zeus decided to step in. And it seemed like now was the time to do it. And now, representing the mortals, he is considered a champion of champions. He was the first one chosen. He is said to have the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the courage of Achilles, the power of Zeus, the might of Atlas, and the speed of Mercury. He hails from the ancient times. I give you the first champion, Black Adam! The humans watched on as Black Adam, the first champion, the man who embodied many powerful traits of both God and man through the decades and centuries, took his place in the arena. So, I had a feeling they'd choose someone like you, Zeus would say. Let me assure you of one thing. There is no man like me. Now, the third round of the Ragnarok was set to begin. The god of lightning, the champion of Olympus, Zeus, versus the first champion, Black Adam. This concludes Record of Ragnarok, Legion Wars. What if the Legion of Doom fought in the Ragnarok? Season 1, Part 4. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue with Record of Ragnarok, Legion Wars. What if the Legion of Doom fought in the Ragnarok? Season 1, Part 5. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off. and I'll see you next time.